Death Note, a name that would resonate with a lot of anime fans. Death Note is considered as the one of the best anime of all time, and the thrilling moments the show gives us makes us obsess over it even more. Death Note has always been fascinating to watch, while every episode just becomes better and better. The series is mind-blowingly awesome, with all the characters trying to outsmart each other. It has a ton of great moments. With that said, I have made a list of some of my favorite moments in the show. I hope you guys enjoy them, and without any further ado, let's start with our list. On the 10th number, the moment is Light's first kill. To start off the list, we are listing Light's first kill on number 10. Light finds the Death Note and unexpectedly takes interest in it. He takes it home and after some consideration decides to try it out. The TV news channel was broadcasting a hostage situation where an infamous assailant has entered a school and taken multiple hostages, including children. The criminal's name is Kuro Otoharada. Unwittingly, Lights writes his name down in his death note, unsure if it would work or not. To his surprise though, it works. He assumes that it was a coincidence, but somewhere inside him, he knew that it was true. This is where it all began, and Light's psychology started to change from the guy who wanted to be the name of justice to becoming a genocider. On the 9th number, the moment is when Light meets L. The first encounter is a battle between two geniuses in the campus. Light has made a perfect score on the entrance exam, earning him enrollment into a prestigious Toho University, much to Ryuk's excitement. As the highest scorer on the test, he is asked to reach a speech in front of the whole freshman class. However, he has to share a speech with another incoming student who also got a perfect score on the exam, and Light instantly recognizes him as the person who watched him during the exam, L. He is now operating under the alias name of Hideki Ryuga, leading some student to confuse him with the idol of the same name. L takes a seat next to the Light and tells him that he has information related to Kira's case to give it to Light. When Light asks him about this information, the other rapidly reveals that he is L, leaving Kira and us both speechless for the rest of the episode and making us foolishly believe that L is really not that smart. On the 8th number, the moment is Naomi Misora's death. This is one of the most memorable scenes in all Death Note, and it will haunt a viewer long after it's over. Naomi Misora is grieving after Raye Penber was killed, and she is determined to approach the police and help them apprehend Kira. Ironically, she meets Light Yagami, Kira himself, and explains herself. After a false start, Light learns Naomi's real name and writes it down in his death note. At the last moment, Light declares himself as Kira just for fun, and Naomi, bound by the notebook, wanders off to end her own life by unknown means. We have last seen her striding away in the cold, headed right to oblivion. She was so close to catching Kira. This scene explains how much Kira wants to be the name of justice, and that he is ready to kill people who are working for good. It also shows how smart Kira really is at manipulating other people. On the 7th number, the moment is Raye Penber's death. Raye Penber is a FBI agent in the series of Death Note, who was investigating members of Yagami and Kitamura families on the suspicion of being Kira. Penber is about to stop investigating Light Yagami since Light appears to be a normal, serious university-bound student that only goes to school and preparatory exams. While following Light, who appears to be going on a date, Penber decides that after today he will no longer investigate him. While wearing a hood to obscure identity, Light Yagami as Kira holds Penber hostage in an underground section of Shinjuku Station. Light appears behind Penber and tells him that he is Kira, then instructs him not to turn around. Penber receives the FBI file at 3:21 p.m. and Penber is the second FBI agent that receives the file. At 4:42 p.m., Penber dies from a heart attack 3 seconds after he exits from the train, and his last sight is of Light's face laughing at him. Unfortunately for him, his last day of investigating the Light becomes his last day on the earth. This scene again shows us how cruel Light can be at times to protect his identity. On the 6th number, the moment is when Light accepts that he is Kira. You cannot just expect Light to accept that he is Kira like a random guy. The scene has to be dramatic, and not just ordinarily dramatic. To Light's surprise, when no one dies after 40 seconds have passed, His blood starts to run cold and he still can't believe that he is finally losing this battle. This scene has so much going on that words are not enough to describe it all. Nier explaining how they replaced the notebook, Nier talking to Shinigami, Mikami killing himself, Masuda being furious on Light, Light calling for Misa and Takada for help. The whole scene is just more than perfect. Finally, when Light realizes that it's time to accept everything, he starts to laugh like a maniac and like a devil with his eyes gone all red. Even till last, he tries to kill everyone. And when he fails to write their names in the piece of Death Note, he starts to convince Matsuda for doing so. But now, it's too late for anyone to fall for his false hope of better world. Now before moving further into the video, I would request you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you are interested in anime, manga or manhwa content, then this is the right place for you. So if you are interested, then definitely subscribe to Weeb. On the 5th number, the scene is when Mikami writes the name in Death Notes. This scene is no less than a horror movie. Mikami is portrayed as a bit of psycho who is deeply in love with his so-called god Kira. Everyone is waiting for Mikami's arrival, and finally he arrives and peeks at everyone in the hall. This scene is so intense that you will start quacking in your boots. Red evil eyes of Mikami, background music and sound effects, Light being addressed as God, fast movements of cameras. Not just it's the best moment from the Death Note, but never have we have seen such an intense moment in anime history. Watching Mikami getting all crazy and writing their names in the Death Note like a madman, members of the task force gets worried. Nier then explains that there is nothing to worry about as he has altered the original Death Note. On the 4th number, the moment is when Light eats a potato chip. One day Light gets home and only to discover no one is there. When he goes to his room, he soon notices that he is under surveillance by a 3-step method that he set to see if anyone has entered his room while he was away. Light effectively had all the cameras found in relatively short time with the help. Over 64 cameras have been placed in Light's room alone. While going for dinner later that day, Light's sister begins watching romance television starring Hideki Ryuga and sees the broadcast of 1500 FBI agents being sent to Japan. Light cleverly sees through the ruse, causing L to suspect him. To continue his task as Kira, he hides a mini LCD television in several bags of potato chips. While taking study notes with his right hand, he writes name in the Death Note with his left hand, killing 2 criminals whose identity he could not have known in order to create an alibi. On the 3rd number, the moment is when L dies. Many would agree that they lost a lot of interest from the nerve-wracking show after the demise of L. Light tricks Rem into killing of L by baiting her out. She increases Misa's lifespan and writes L's name in her note. She also kills Watari, and since she increased a human's lifespan, the ruler makes her turn to dust too. We see L fall first into the panel and wonders if he managed to outsmart Light or not. And unfortunately, Light got an upper hand in this time. Watching the undefeatable L dying on the screen really broke everyone's heart, and many even dropped the series right there. Hence, L's death takes the number 3 spot on our list of top 10 best moments from Death Note anime. On the 2nd number, the moment is when Ryuk kills Light. The subject of Light's death was one of the ways that the anime differed from the manga. In the manga, Light asked Ryuk to kill Nier and the task force members, realizing that there was no other way for him to win. Ryuk realizes that Light has no chance for succeeding without the Shinigami's help, so he finally ended the little experiment he started. Ryuk wrote Light Yagami's name in his Death Note and Light finally died, devastating that the Shinigami seemingly betrayed him. But in the anime, Light doesn't ask Ryuk to kill other task force members and Nier. Instead, he tries to run from them but gets shot by Matsuda. And he dies by some staircase by Ryuk writing his name in his Death Note. It is one of the scenes that always will be remembered by the fans of Death Note. On the 1st number, the moment is when Light regains his memories. Sometimes in a media franchise, a character temporarily loses some of their powers and they seem ordinary and harmless until those powers comes flooding back. Both heroes and villains have done this, and that including of Light. When Higuchi is captured, Light gets his hand on the notebook and instantly reverts to his ice-cold, ruthless persona right there next to L. At once, he kills Higuchi with a scrap of notebook paper in his watch and then glances at L, savoring the thought of killing him at last. It's just a total 180-degree spin in just few seconds of time. This here is one of the greatest moments in anime history, and no matter how many times you watch this, it is sure to give you chills every single time. And if it doesn't, you never understood Death Note on deeper levels. And I think that's for today's video, guys. That was a video about top 10 best moments from Death Note anime. What are your thoughts about this video? Let me know which is your favorite moment from this video in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I post daily anime content about top 10 top 5 listings, anime reviews, recommendations, news theories and all sorts of anime content on daily basis. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and that was it, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.